Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Mayoral and District 2 Candidates Forum sponsored by the Whittier Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for being here this evening. This forum gives you an opportunity to hear from 3 of the candidates running for the citywide election for mayor, as well as 3 of the candidates for the District 2 election. All registered and qualified candidates were invited to be part of this candidates forum, and we are grateful that all of them decided to accept and show up tonight. So thank you for being here. While the Whittier Chamber does not endorse any candidates, we do provide information through events like this candidates forum, so our members and the community at large can make informed decisions when it comes time to vote. Our city's election will take place this year on Tuesday, April 12th. And if you have any questions about how the process is going to work, we have city staff and some information in the back. Tonight, we are pleased to start the forum with all 3 registered mayoral candidates. And I'd like to introduce Rolando Cano, L. Leon Savage, and Joe Vinatieri. Following the mayoral candidates, we'll be hearing from the candidates from District 2, including Mary Gorman Sullins, Michael Kazarian, and Octavio Cesar Martinez. At this time, I'd like to invite up Chamber Chair of the Board, Sandra Hahn, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
May you please rise. Repeat, hand over your heart and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Our moderator for this evening is local business owner and Whittier Chamber Executive Board member Quan Lee from Mart Plan Insurance. Quan has owned his business in La Habra for the past 15 years, and he is involved in numerous nonprofit organizations in and around town. He has received his BA from Whittier College and his MBA from Biola University, and thank you, Quan, for being here this evening. Assisting him with timing and questions is my chamber team member, Rick Navarro, our Director of Public Relations. I'd like to extend a special welcome to board representatives from both the Whittier Uptown Association and the Uptown Whittier Improvement Association. So thank you, Justin and Melinda, for being here with us. We appreciate the collaboration with the Chamber and these 2 important organizations in the Uptown area. A big thank you goes to Ross Gile from DigiCal for live streaming and filming our event this evening. The footage will be available on the Whittier Chamber's website at whittierchamber.com probably by the end of this week. I also like to thank the staff at the Whittier Community Center for setting up today, and a special thanks to Rudy Hernandez from RMH Entertainment for providing the sound. And lastly, what everybody loves, Doubletree cookies. So thank you, Therese from the Doubletree, for cookies, and Rose Hills for the water. It's the important stuff in life, right? At this time, I'd like to introduce R.D. McDonald. He is our committee chair for our Economic Development Committee, and he will outline the format and the timeline for you. R.D.
Thank you, Carol. I'm just so pleased to see such a great turnout. Really proud to be a part of this community that is engaged with the politics of the city. The questions for this evening's forum were developed with input from the members of the Chamber's Economic Development Committee, which consists of a cross-section of business and community leaders. Seating order of the candidates was determined earlier, and we will rotate the speakers at the start of each question. Audience members will have the opportunity to write questions for mayoral and District 2 candidates on index cards throughout the evening. Cards are available from the volunteers or at the back of the room. Cards will be reviewed by volunteers and selected based on appropriateness and topic. The format for the mayoral forum will be as follows. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes for an opening statement. Mayoral candidates will be asked 4 chamber-generated questions and will be given 2 minutes to answer each question. Mayoral candidates will be asked 2 to 3 audience-generated questions and will be given 1 minute to answer each question. Each mayoral candidate will be given 1 minute for closing remarks. As the candidates are speaking, a yellow card will be held up at 30 seconds remaining, and a red card will be displayed when the time is up. We kindly ask all candidates to adhere to the time allotted and be respectful when it is someone else's turn. As a reminder to all, this is a forum where candidates have been invited to provide information to our residents and businesses. This is not a debate, and there will not be an opportunity for rebuttals. Candidates and ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending the 2022 Candidates Forum. And with that, I turn it over to Quan Lee. Let's begin.
Good evening. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes for an opening statement and should include, please discuss your credentials, why you are running, your qualifications, and your interests in the business community. And we'll start with Mr. Savage.
Hi, my name is, can you guys hear me back there? All right. My name is L. Leon Savage. I've been living in Whittier for over 30 years. I'm started out in the military, I guess like most of you in the military. I did my military time, honorably discharged. I graduated from Pasadena, an associate's in arts and science. My reason for running for mayor is that our town is in some serious trouble when it comes to safety. And right now, the criminals outnumber our police. So I'm here to change that, make that better. My credentials as far as my leadership skills, I started what they call the BSUC, Black Sailors Union Coalition. It was coalition because it wasn't just for Blacks. However, you know that the Sailors Union turned into a credit union. Yes, you're welcome. Other than that, I raised beautiful children. They graduated, from Hoover to Lincoln, all the way to Whittier High School, Cal Poly, and about as much as I can say right now, common sense. I hope common sense rules the day this evening. Common sense is what's been lacking for quite some time. So practical application as well. And that's basically the story of me. I mean, oh yes, I did work with the VITA program here with the Sheriff's Department in Whittier, working with children in gangs and troubled homes. I can say we had one of the best records out of the 18 children. We only had one fall by the wayside. Some of them graduated college before I did. And that's who I am, L. Leon Savage, and I hope to have your vote on April 12th. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Savage. Mr. Cano?
Hi, my name is Rolando Cano. I'm a special needs advocate here in Whittier. I've been here before in the last election, and one of the things that I've seen from the last election to now is that not much has changed. My background involves political science. I'm an engineer. On my off time, again, I'm a special needs advocate, but going from place to place here in Whittier, we see a lot of changes that are not for the benefit of our businesses. We see an increase in the homeless population. We've seen a stressed out, limited police department that's not able to function to its full capacity. We see that many plans have been presented in these past 2 years, but nothing has really resulted from these plans. We were told that there was a homeless plan, and here we are again, only helping these homeless that are residents of Whittier. They can prove that they're residents of Whittier, while the majority remain on our streets. Earlier today, I had an issue with a homeless, drug-addicted gentleman, and it's difficult to get any kind of support for a gentleman like that or other people in the community. I know that there's been conversations where we talk about the mentally ill in our street, and we really don't have any capacity or support for these people. We've heard it yesterday at the city council meeting. We have a lot of issues here that can be resolved through a conversation of the community, through engagement. We recently were allowed to come into city council meetings, but it's been over 2 years that the city has been functioning on its own. And one of the biggest issues that I have is that Uptown Whittier is the biggest commercial district in Whittier, but it has no voice. Because once you purchase a business in Uptown, you can no longer take part. That's a big issue when we see this surplus through Whittier, but we really have no direction. So we really need a voice. We need to take these options, considerations, and we need to do what's right. My name is Rolando Cano.
Thank you, Mr. Cano. Mr. Vinatieri, your turn.
Thank you and welcome. It's great to be here this evening. But first, to my wife sitting over there, happy anniversary, dear. I love you. So we're here tonight, and it's an honor to be your mayor. Whittier is on the move. You've heard me say that. Whittier is on the move. It's actually a very exciting time for us. Lots has happened. So we've made some promises, and we've kept those promises. And I want to go over those very quickly. Remember 2 years ago? Remember what was going on 2 years ago? We were in the middle of a very troubling homelessness issue, were we not? Remember? Encampments on Whittier Boulevard, Parnell Park. Our police department was understaffed. The city budget, it was balanced, but it was very lean. And then several days into my term, in fact, less than a week, we got hit with the COVID lockdowns, and life changed forever. Remember? 2 years ago. We like to forget, it was 2 years ago. So today, that picture looks very, very different. First of all, we've helped set up a navigation center. The homeless have been basically moved from those parks. The navigation center is down here providing important services. We ended up able now to enforce our no trespassing rules. We hired a new chief of police, remember? Where levels are up to full strength. Whittier is safer because there's more officers on the street. Our city budget is balanced, it's healthy, and we have a surplus. And we asked the people to support Measure W, and that happened. And we're very thankful for that. We ended up with a whole series of efforts to help our businesses during COVID. We were one of the first cities to allow restaurants out on the streets. So in 2003, a couple of us launched Nellis, which is now the Groves. How many of you here have eaten at In-N-Out, right? Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vinatieri. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes to answer the following questions, and we're going to rotate. So we'll start with Mr. Salvage. The question, economic development is very important to the chamber and our community. What is your position on the city offering subsidies to attract new businesses to Whittier?
Attracting new business to Whittier is going to be very, very hard with the way things are going right now. This promenade, if you go to talk to the LA fire chief, the health and safety codes, so it's going to be hard to do business in somewhere where you're violating health and safety codes. Our property value in Whittier has dropped dramatically ever since these stacking packs have started. I moved that we get rid of these stacking packs so that our property value can go back up. And the result of property value dropping has resulted in over 2,000 people moving out of Whittier. So until we're made safe, until we get rid of this promenade, which is killing business. I've talked to every business owner practically in there. They don't like it. It's killing business. And now I see they're building up the Grove. However, remember the Grove was supposed to be, or Fred C. Nellis was supposed to be for low-income housing. I don't know any low-income families that start out at $400,000 to $1 million a year. So whatever they said they were going to do and whatever's going on right now, it shouldn't have happened. Basically, the people will do a Kansas City shuffle. Look this way while we do that. Because it was supposed to be affordable housing. Until we create common sense and do literally what we say we're going to do, things are getting worse. I said the same thing at Parnell Park in 2018. This is getting worse and has gotten worse. Again, if you want to have a good economic base, it has to be safe. If it's going to be safe, it has to have the right amount of policemen. We have over 70,000 people that live here in Whittier, 52 policemen per every 10,000 residents.
Thank you, Mr. Savage. Same question to you, Mr. Cano. Economic development is very important to the chamber and our community. What is your position on the city offering subsidies to attract new businesses to Whittier?
You know what? That's a great question. Subsidies are always great to obviously create new business. It usually attracts bigger chains. It attracts chains like Boca de Beppo. They're actively searching for cities where they're able to make become a staple in the city. But one of the biggest issues here, although we do have these subsidies, we have a lot of businesses that are currently struggling. They're responsible for a surplus. They were responsible for a surplus last year. And one of the things that we see, we are attracting new business. We see it at the Groves. You have your In-N-Out. You have these big chains that are coming in. But we were promised support for small business. You're only going to have a handful there. It's drawing attraction. That's great off of the boulevard. But we have a large section of a commercial district here in Uptown. We should be looking into using some of these subsidies, which I'm sure we are, to draw new business into Uptown and fill in these empty buildings. We should be using some kind of support system with this new plan that's coming up, the Uptown, the Greenleaf Promenade. There's going to be closures. They're going to be moving a water main right to the center of the street. That's going to close a lot of businesses. Aside from subsidies, we really need to focus on creating a purse that's going to support these small businesses. How many have we seen disappear during COVID? It was the chamber that first took the step to support these businesses, and then the city followed. The city has to lead first. You cannot just stand aside and watch these people struggle. We hear all these great things here at the Groves, but sadly enough, there is currently no voice for Uptown. We need to focus on bringing business to Uptown that's going to attract support for the rest of the businesses. Walkability is the number one thing, but without a voice, it's an issue. We need to make the difference count, and we need to support these small businesses and use these subsidies to bring in new business to support the small business.
Thank you, Mr. Cano. Mr. Vinatieri, same question. Economic development is very important to the chamber and our community. What is your position on the city offering subsidies to attract new businesses to Whittier?
So subsidies come in different forms. They can be property tax credits. They can be rebates, all kinds of different things. Subsidies by themselves are not necessarily very attractive. So when you do a subsidy, it needs to be targeted. I'm all for targeted subsidies. So you ask yourself the question, well, what kind of target? What are we looking for? Are we looking for a big sales tax generating corporations? Are we looking for smaller businesses that will provide jobs at $15, $17, $20 an hour? You have to ask yourself what you want to do. There have been a number of municipalities that did subsidies that have gone on, and basically they're just a big drain out of the general fund budget. So I'm all for it, but it's got to be done properly. If you're going to do it, however, you have to make sure that you've got the infrastructure you need. You got to make sure that you've got the education system, et cetera. We in Whittier are a very attractive place. And I had the opportunity the other day to go to one of our larger sales tax producers. You don't even know them where they exist. They're down behind Home Depot. And they are an electrical distribution company. They have 150 workers. They have 6 locations throughout Southern California. This is almost their top location. And if they can find further work here, space, they're going to come to Whittier. And you don't want to know why? Because here in Whittier, they like the attitude. They like the chamber. They like the way we do business here. So subsidies are all good, but when they came here, they didn't come with a subsidy. They came here because it was located, the property values, the rental stream was right for them. And now we have a great, great job creator. And there are others out there who are like that. So We can look for those, and I think maybe we will be looking for those, but we have to be smart about how we do it.
Thank you. We're going to rotate to number 2 here. Question to Mr. Cano. We're going to start. Measure W was 0.75% sales tax increase that was approved by the voters in 2020. Whittier residents prioritize using this additional money to enhance public safety. What are your public safety priorities for the use of these additional dollars?
Okay, first, I want to begin by reminding the people that Measure W was presented as not needed, that we just wanted to pass this measure to ensure that the state didn't come and take it from us. That's how we began. We were told that this was going to be extra money that we can just use to support the needs and the services here in Whittier. Now, as far as public safety, there was a point where we had people outside protesting, indicating that we should be defunding the police department. But as our council let us know, there was no need to because they were already being underfunded. The issue is that we have 6 patrol cars patrolling all of Whittier. When I met with Chief Aviv, I went to the police station. This is the information I was given. When you make a phone call and you're told that there's no officers available, regardless of what the situation may be, that's a dangerous situation to be with. We keep hiring officers to replace those that are retiring. If you take a visit to the police department, you can see this for yourself, get the same information. We're replacing people on their way out. We're not adding. The big situation is that we need to invest in a police department that has a gang unit. We've had an increase of 900% gun violence here in Whittier since November. We've had people's bodies being dumped, being shot at, drive-bys. And what are we doing? Our council seems to ignore that fact. We need to invest in a gang unit, dedicate funding for that, and move forward appropriately like other cities. Even Santa Fe Springs has a gang unit, and that is funded by our Whittier PD, Santa Fe Springs. But what are we doing here in Whittier? We need to do far more. We have a surplus, but we had a city council that talks about how are we going to spend it? Spend it on the trail, some trees. Well, what about the need of the people? What about support for the businesses? We need to invest in our police department through a gang unit and investigators that are going to take action when it's needed, not after the fact.
Thank you, Mr. Cano. Same question, Mr. Vinatieri. Measure W was a 0.75% sales tax increase that was approved by the voters in 2020. Would your residents prioritize using this additional money to enhance public safety? What are your public safety priorities for the use of these additional dollars?
The first statement that has to be made is we have to say thank you to all of you out here who supported. Everybody came together. I'm looking at Bob Henderson over here, Fernando Dutra's over here. There's a number of people on all sides of this race that's been going on here in our community who all came together for Measure W. Thank you to all of you. And you made a wise investment. Contrary to maybe some of the statistics we just heard, that money has been used to take care of not only police and increase police funding, it was also for homelessness. The shelter that you see down the street here, guess what's funding that? We have other city services. We just went ahead and hired 3 more concrete workers we had to let go of before because of the situation with the budget. Guess what we're doing now? And guess what we did the other night? We hired 4 more officers, 2 of whom are going to be part of the SET team, which is our gang unit. And oh, by the way, there's 20,000 new felony criminals walking the streets of California, and some of them are right here in Whittier. So our chief of police said, I need a couple more police officers. And I don't know about you, but the traffic's been pretty bad. People have a really bad attitude, driving fast and doing donuts and stuff. Well, 2 of those police officers, they're going to do traffic. So the money, the 4 new officers, we're not defunding, we're defending, and we just added 4 more officers. Show me another police department in Southern California that's adding officers. They're not there, guys. So I want to say thank you to all of you. And we have not had a 900% increase. We have had an increase in petty thefts and smaller misdemeanor type crimes and smaller felonies for Part 1. And that's another issue as to prosecution that we're going to talk about in a couple of minutes. So we are using that money, and thank you, all of you. You've made a very, very wise investment.
Thank you. Mr. Savage, same question. Measure W was a 0.75% sales tax increase that was approved by the voters in March 2020. Whittier residents prioritize using this additional money to enhance public safety. What are your public safety priorities for the use of these additional dollars?
To bring back all 500 police officers that graduated from the Whittier Police Department in 2017 and that were all turned down in 2017, shortly after this election in 2016. Again, I'll pick up where I left off. 52 policemen per every 10,000 residents. So we have 132 policemen now. We don't have enough. My goal, 200 police in each district. That way we'll be able to taper off and even give some more support to Santa Fe Springs with that. However, this running on a it's not even a shoestring budget. It's a shoestring operation. Our policemen aren't being supported. They're being overworked. You cannot have 130 policemen in a town the size of this. It's over 70,000 people. And then we go to Santa Fe Springs, add another 30,000 to that. You think 132 people are going to be able to protect all that? No, we are 52 people per every 10,000 residents is the bare minimum. We don't even reach the bare minimum. So yes, what would I do with that extra money? Those 500 policemen that graduated in 2017 from the Whittier Police Academy came right here, applied to the Whittier PD. All 500 were turned down. It makes no sense. Nothing's going to go right. The criminals are outside our town waiting. They hoping I don't get in. Yeah, they hoping I don't get in because you go out on the streets, they scared to look my way. And I ain't trying to brag about that or nothing. I just know I'm tough on crime. And we need 200 policemen per every district. And that would only set us at half of what we had from 1994 to 2004.
Thank you, Mr. Savage. We're going to start with Mr. Vinatieri on number 3 question. It has been reported that the city of Whittier currently has a surplus of $17 million. What are your top 2 priorities for this money?
The city of Whittier actually has a surplus of $21.5 million. And that's predicated on 17.5 that we had after last year's budget. People spent a lot of money during COVID online, a whole lot of money. And with changes in the state legislature in terms of the revenue taxation code, that money has gone all over everywhere. I don't know if you're aware of it, but the state of California, I'm glad you're all sitting down, has a $46 billion surplus. $46 billion surplus, highest surplus ever in the history of the state of California. So a lot of cities have surpluses. So we went through and determined what our priorities would be. And our priorities at City Council, and I'm very pleased that we have a great City Council team, and we sat down with the city manager and we went through a number of issues. And we said, you know what? Number 1, if we have that kind of surplus, we're going to invest in youth sports. I just went to the opening day of Murphy Ranch and Pony last Saturday. We have over 1,000 youngsters playing baseball. That's one of the largest programs in this end of Los Angeles County, here in Whittier. And you know what? How much money we put into it? Not a whole lot. We're putting lights in Murphy Ranch. We're going to redo the fields at East Whittier. And so youth sports, we're going to redo Parnell Park. Parnell Park, where the encampment is going to be completely redone. So we've got that. So we're investing money in next couple generations because that's where this money belongs. We've got Uptown, the streetscape. We've got the Greenway Trail. We have several other priorities, and we'll talk about those in a couple minutes.
Thank you. Mr. Savage, same question. It has been reported that the city of Whittier currently has surplus of $17 million. What are your top 2 priorities for this money?
Ask all 500 of those applicants that applied to Whittier PD in 2017 to come back. And once the safest city is safe, excuse me, this promenade, it has to go. It's killing business. Now, the streets haven't been cleaned since this epidemic started, or pandemic, whatever you want to call it. But the streets haven't been cleaned. Our city looks like a flop house. So, and again, criminals are waiting to see what's happening. And right now, they got the upper hand because they know they outnumber our police. So another thing, I will probably file a lawsuit against the state for putting 1,996 child predators in the 3rd largest school district in Southern California. These are 835Bs. They don't change. And they're not trying to change. But yet we have them around our children. 3rd largest school district in Southern California. Where was the common sense? Who signed off on it? But that's what I would do with the surplus. We need safety. We need policemen. We need to be protected. We want to walk outside and feel safe. We want to open our businesses up and feel safe. We want to go to our homes and feel safe. If that money is there, that's what I'm going to do. Provide for the safety of this community. Remember, in any job that you have, what's the number one rule? What's the number one priority no matter what you do? Safety first. We're not concentrating on safety. For some reason, somebody's concentrating on filling their pockets. This doesn't create business, it kills business. Yeah, so I would open up our town. There needs to be something done other than just sitting on our thumbs and saying, oh, well, I don't know what's happening. It's the state's fault.
Thank you, Mr. Savage. Mr. Connell, same question. It has been reported that the city of Whittier currently has a surplus of $17 million. What are your top 2 priorities for this money?
Well, we just heard that the surplus is 21 million. So we actually have far more money that hasn't been presented to the community, but I'm glad to hear it tonight. One of the biggest issues that we have, obviously, is crime. We have had shootings here. We had one at the Ralph Shopping Center on Camilla. There was another young man that was killed. There was a body dump here at Michigan Park, that general area. We do need to invest in our police department. We need to focus on a gang unit because the gangs deal drugs. That's what fuels our homeless situation. Reaction times are very slow, so we need to take action. We can have businesses calling calling the police department, letting the police know, hey, someone just broke into my business, or someone just broke into my house. Someone just shot someone on the street. And to get a response of, well, you know what, we don't have enough officers right now. They're dealing with another situation. That has happened to many people here. Our family members going shopping, they don't feel safe. But we also have to stay positive. Like I said, I'm a special needs advocate. I work with kids, and one of the things that I don't see, I'm glad to hear that Murphy Ranch and parts of East Whittier are doing well. That is a great accomplishment for the city. But what about the rest of us? We have a large school district with Whittier City School District here, Whittier Union, and our parks are struggling. They're pretty much empty. We need centers that would support these kids after school, create a mentorship program to ensure that some of these kids through the city would be able to participate in a mentorship program. So once they graduate, they can be hired directly into city jobs. We need to support special needs children to continue the education process through schools. I would also like to see a free transit system like the trolley. It would be great to see that come back and create support. The initial investment would be in these vehicles, but the support would be through advertisement.
Thank you, Mr. Cano. Just for the respect of our candidates, if you can take a moment, if you haven't silenced your phones, please take a moment to do that. And we'll go on to question number 4. And starting with Mr. Savage. The city of Whittier has a homeless shelter run by the First Day and a new navigation center run by the Salvation Army. What new ideas can you offer for addressing the negative impact of homelessness on the business community?
Self-sufficiency is a big thing in a community. And when a community can take care of itself, it can take care of others than itself. However, our community isn't in a position to even properly take care of ourselves. I'm not really happy with the First Day or the Salvation Army because I've talked to the people that live in these places and they're not happy. They get kicked out, but yet they're still being counted as staying there. The first day of having veterans, military, signed over their DD-214s. These are not public records. So what would I do? First, I got to clean house in both of these places. It's not going well. And it's sad for us to sit here and think like, oh, it's all right. No, it's not all right. So yes, getting rid of, no, I would have to clean house in the Salvation Army in the first day because I have a personal, intimate understanding of what they're doing. And it's not right. So self-sufficiency, taking care of ourselves. Charity starts at home, taking care of our town. We'll be able to take care of the people in our town, not outside of our town. There's too many nameless faces here right now. And that's what's making things worse for the police because these people are coming from outside areas. They're not people that live here and happen to fall up on some bad luck and have to go to the Salvation Army on the first day. These are people from outside. So let's take care of our home first. Let's take care of Whittier first before we start worrying about who from outside we need to take care of. Because right now, we are hurting. If you think we aren't hurting, go outside and see for yourself.
Thank you. Same question, Mr. Cano. The city of Whittier has a homeless shelter run by First Day and a new navigation center run by the Salvation Army. What new ideas can you offer for addressing the negative impact of homelessness on the business community?
Well, first of all, the moment we hire someone else to take care of a problem, it's still our problem. It's just managed by someone else that may not live in our city. They do the best they can. I understand that. And I was very surprised to see that in the last election, I presented an idea to become Boise compliant. And that terminology was used by our current leadership, but it doesn't go all the way. When you only address homeless that can prove that they're residents of Whittier, and I don't know who or what homeless person that is in dire need, always losing their stuff or taken away or thrown out, how are they going to prove this? You're only selecting a small percentage. My idea has always been to become Boise compliant using our old police station. We're still maintaining it. It can be used to provide a bed for a homeless person. It could be run by the city, and we can use the nonprofits that function here in our city to come and create support. The moment we become Boise compliant, the moment that the responsibility falls on the city, then we can enforce our laws. Then we can create a pathway to help out those in need. We don't have to be concerned by walking outside of your business or your home to throw out your trash and then you see someone digging through it. When you have someone that has a mental illness that's struggling out in our city, what do? So far, unless they can prove that they're residents of Whittier, nothing. We need to take that step. It's very simple. The city takes responsibility, uses our own backyard here for our city council that can no longer ignore that so that we could take action. I hate to hear that officers have to deal with people that are struggling and then they end up getting hurt. That's a job for social services. We need to do more. We need to take responsibility.
Thank you, Mr. Cano. For the audience, a last call for audience questions. If you have not turned it in already, please take the time to do so now. And then we'll move on to Mr. Vinatieri. Same question. The city of Whittier has a homeless shelter run by First Day and a new navigation center run by the Salvation Army. What new ideas can you offer for addressing the negative impact of homelessness on the business community?
Thank you. Let's just go back and review for a minute what the homelessness situation was in here 2 years ago. Remember the Greenbelt, Whittier Boulevard. Remember Parnell Park. Remember all the hundreds of people who were coming to city council. Some people saying, you got to build a shelter. blah, blah, blah. Others saying, no, don't build a shelter because it's going to be an attractive nuisance and bring people into Whittier. Remember that? I remember, a couple of us remember, because it was every Tuesday night. So what did we end up doing? We ended up doing something that only one other city in the county of Los Angeles had done, and that was Bellflower. And we've modeled the Bellflower way of doing things. And that was, we said, you know what? We will have money that we will set up our own homeless shelter. And that way, because it's our general fund money, and by the way, Measure W paid for it and is paying for it. By doing it that way, we could say, you know what? You can't come into Whittier. You have to be a Whittier person to go to Salvation Army. So what's happened? First day, they're taking money from LASA. And so anybody can go in there, but those are people who basically have come into Whittier who are being taken care of through basically first day. So we have two different things going on. By the way, very few communities in this county of Los Angeles are doing what we're doing. We were the second one behind Bellflower following Orange County and getting into the Judge Carter lawsuit, if we all remember. So our problem today is not so much regular kind of people who are having a problem, it's people who are mentally ill. And we talked about it at City Council last night. We have our CityNet folks who are out walking and supposed to be talking, probably, hopefully taking some of the push off of the police department. But the county of Los Angeles has to do its job with respect to mental health. And we've had problems, candidly, having them do their job. Businesses will be much better when we can deal with a mental health issue and everybody does their job. I'm very empathetic because I see it in certain portions of the city that are being hit by the businesses being hit. So we're working it.
Thank you. Audience questions?
Because it's only a matter of time before.
Okay, so because of time constraints, we went ahead and selected two questions that were turned in this evening. And we're going to start with Mr. Cano. Please take a seat. Okay, as a member of a huge LGBTQ Whittier community, what is your inclusiveness agenda for, such as center and services for the youth?
Well, actually, that's a great question. And just to let the public know, I'm a committee member and an ally of Whittier Pride. We've been a part of creating the first ever Pride Festival here, the Pride Ride, and we've supported businesses on Greenleaf. One of the things here is that it's 2022. We shouldn't even be discussing why we should or should not be supporting the people that live here in Whittier. You know, you look at your neighbor, you don't automatically assume that they may be part of the LGBTQ community. You just know that they're a great person. When people open up businesses, we don't question it. When we come out and try to have support the LGBTQ community here, it's a great turnout. You have families that come out. There should be no hesitation in creating a youth center for this group here, because if you go online, Instagram, you see people that are harsh to couples that are walking down the street. That should stop. It's 2022. There's no more point in debating that.
Thank you, Mr. Cano. Just a reminder, this is a 1-minute answer. And we'll go to you, Mr. Vinatieri. As a member of a huge LGBTQ Whittier community, what is your agenda for inclusiveness, such as a center and service for youth?
Thank you. So I was very, very pleased when the car parade took place to support the Whittier Police Department. Remember, we had, I don't know how many, 100 cars. In one of the cars, or a couple, it was from the Pride group, which showed to me great inclusiveness because everyone, well, not everyone, but most everyone was supporting the Whittier Police Department. And that spoke measures to me because it had nothing to do with one's way they were. It had to do with getting behind the police department. So as far as I'm concerned, anybody who wants to help us as a community that way, we want to reach out and help them. And they're part of the community, everyone. This is a very inclusive community. and things are changing and things are growing all the time, and we want to make sure that we keep it that way.
Thank you, Mr. Vinatieri. Same question to you, Mr. Savage. As a member of a huge LGBT Whittier community, what is your agenda for inclusiveness, such as a center and service for youth?
Well, I would really like to start out since I only have a minute. Who you choose to spend your intimate time with, that's your business. Straight up. It's not for us to impose that on children. Now, if children are having issues like that, that's why they have parents to talk them through this thing. If we have put it like this, we don't have a heterosexual community center. It's just a community center. I don't care who you choose to sleep with. What side of life are you on? Are you about giving children like facts or about indoctrinating them into some kind of program? Because people need support. People need understanding. And, that's kind of like a loaded question. However, I'll finish it up. Children get things in their own time, just like we did.
Thank you, Mr. Savage. We have number 2 question, and we're going to start with Mr. Vinatieri. We won't all agree on priorities and how strategize use of resources. We all love Whittier. How will you keep in touch with views of diverse constituents?
How will I keep in touch with views of diverse constituents?
Yes.
This is a small town of 88,000 people, right? Everybody in Whittier is directly or indirectly related in some way. That's the way it is here in Whittier. It's a big, small town. So why do I say that? You can pick up the telephone, you can send email, you can send text to any council member, you can send it to the mayor. I get 4 or 5 a day, and I'm here to listen. And some of you know that I have come out and met you personally to look at your issue, because that's the way it is in a small town, and that's what about service is. So I might agree, I might disagree, but the point is, I'm going to listen. And I think most of our city council is that way also. And that's the way it works here in Whittier, and that's why we live in a smaller town. And that's my commitment to doing my job as mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Savage, same question. We won't all agree on priorities and how strategize use of resources. We all love Whittier. How will you keep in touch with the views of diverse constituents?
It don't matter what color you are, everybody wants to feel safe. Everybody wants to be safe. So my priority is what it's been since 2016. Make this town safe with more policemen. We had the opportunity, and here's the beautiful thing. The 500 that's coming back, they all live and were born and raised in Whittier. That's what checks and balances literally started in the local community, not in the state or federal. So, honestly, it's about safety. If we're not going to make this town safe, you might as well give it up. You might as well let Savage Canyon go. Might as well let Savage Creek go. Might as well let Savage Valley. Yes, look on the map. I know where I am. So, yeah, that's what it is. We need more police. We need more safety, more police. I'm going to keep saying it like a broken record until it's done.
Thank you, Mr. Salvage. Now to you, Mr. Kano, same question. We won't all agree on priorities and how strategize use of resources. We all love Whittier. How will you keep in touch with the views of diverse constituents?
All right, the first step is always important. It's being involved in your community, going out there saying, hello, my name is so-and-so, what's your name? Communicating with the community and not staying in your bubble. I've met people throughout Whittier and they tell me the issues that go on. But we have a city council here that has districts. Not once have I heard a report from a council member or the mayor talking directly giving a report about the issues that are actually happening in the community. You have no reports from the city council members. Half the time, they're asking for trees. We need lights. We need safety. We know what the issues are when you engage people. And the other thing that we have to do is, we recently opened up City Hall. It's been closed for 2 years. The reason there's been no pushback and no 200 people coming out and arguing about the homeless is because it's been closed. Unless I listen to you and I come out and engage you, nothing happens. We have to start doing that. Communicating, reporting, listening to you folks.
Thank you, Mr. Cano. Due to time constraints, I won't be asking any additional audience questions, but we're going to go ahead and give each one of the candidates a minute to state their closing comment. But we'll also have about a 10-minute break for those of you that submitted your questions. If you take and engage personally and ask those questions during that break, it'll be great. Thank you. Okay, so we'll start with Mr. Salvage. Your closing statement, 1 minute, please.
All right. El Leon Savage, I'm here to make this town safe. I have a background in law enforcement and the military. So if we're not going to be safe, we're just going to give it all away. Or someone's going to come and take it all away. Cleaning up our town, making businesses better. We see right now this promenade is killing our town. Let's not overlook common sense. Common sense says when it ain't working, you do something else. Practical application. This ain't working. It's not working the fact that we have only 132 policemen in a town that needs at least 800. It's not working, not like that. So I'm here to change all that. I'm here to bring back the police department. I'm here to make this town better. And yes, gangs, they're done. Simple as that.
Thank you, Mr. Salvage. Mr. Cano, 1 minute, closing statement.
Okay, my name is Rolando Cano. You guys have seen me here running for mayor in the past. And we keep the same leadership since 2015. We know what we're getting. We see it out there. Nothing's going to change unless you folks are looking for something different. And I'm not talking change, I'm talking progress. When you're succeeding in your life, you want to advance. That's progress. When you're moving forward, then you see these structures popping up left and right. That's change. When you see that we have control on the homeless, that's progress. But when you see them littered all over the place because there's no support, that's change and that's wrong. My name is Rolando Cano. I want to thank the Whittier Chamber of Commerce, all of you for coming out here. I want to thank my wife, my family, my friends, and everyone that gives a damn to come out tonight and really listen to the issues. But it's your choice. You're going to get your ballot March 14th, and you're going to get to vote in person from April 1st through April 12th. Make a difference, folks. It's up to you.
Thank you, Mr. Cano. Mr. Vinatieri, 1 minute, your closing statement, please.
I'm really excited about where we're at as a community. We have lots of resources. Most importantly, we have a lot of commitment, but even more important, we have a lot of heart. I've gone out and talked to some of the folks at the Groves, a number of whom have moved in from downtown Los Angeles. They are so happy to be in Whittier because of this kind of thing right here. They've never had experience of people looking out for each other, respecting each other, living together, and actually having a good time. But we have one issue, and I'm really concerned about it, and that is our misdemeanor lack of prosecution by the county district attorney. We've had more than 666 misdemeanors not filed upon, and we are not as safe as we should be. So I'm encouraging everyone, think strongly about what's going on. I sent a letter to the district attorney today asking Whittier to be able to do our own prosecution. Last thing to say, you haven't heard it yet tonight. You haven't heard it. Live in Whittier, work in Whittier, shop in Whittier. God bless all of you. Thank you.
That's how it goes. That's how it goes.
Thank you to all the candidates. How about another round of applause for our candidates?
Once again, we are pleased to have all three candidates running for District 2 with us this evening. And it's my pleasure to welcome Mary Gorman-Sullins, Michael Kazarian, and Octavio Martinez. So thank you for being here, folks. Once again, our moderator is Quan Lee with assistance from Rick Navarro from the Chamber. And District 2 questions have been comprised and written by our Economic Development Committee. There will be an opportunity for the audience to submit questions. There are index cards in the back. You are welcome to write your question down for District 2 candidates and turn them into our volunteers in the back. So thank you. At this time, I just wanted to acknowledge some people who are here, and I hope they haven't left, but former city council members who have served our community well. Bob Henderson, are you still here, Bob? Right here in the front. So great to see you, Bob. Thank you. Alan Zolnikoff. Alan, are you here still? Oh, there he is right there. Alan, great to see you. Thank you. He didn't do it, but you're here. So you did do it. And Greg Nordbach. Greg, great to see you. Thank you for being here, Greg. And I'd also like to welcome, if she's still here, current council member from District 1, Jessica Martinez. Jessica is right there. She changed seats on me. And also my pleasure to recognize our District 4 City Council current member and continuing on as he is the only one who ran for District 4 and qualified, Fernando Dutra. Thank you for being here this evening. And I think I caught everybody, but we also have former board members and commissioners here for the City of Whittier also. So we thank you all for your service. And one more time, thank you all for being here tonight to take part in this candidates forum and your interest in our city. One more time, a thank you to Ross Gile, who is doing our filming, to Rudy Hernandez, who is doing our sound, to the City of Whittier and Community Services staff for their setup, and to now gone cookies from the Doubletree and Rose Hills with the Water. So thank you. One more time, I'd like to introduce our Economic Development Committee Chair, R.D. McDonald, who will once again outline the format and timeline for the District 2 Forum. R.D.
Thank you, Carol. Okay, welcome to the District 2 Candidates Forum. If you're here for District 3, you're early. Please come back in 24 months. The questions for this evening's forum were developed with input from members of the Chamber's Economic Development Committee, which consists of a cross-section of business and community leaders. Seating order of the candidates was determined earlier, and we will rotate speakers at the start of each question. The format for the District 2 Forum will be as follows. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes for an opening statement. District candidates will be asked 3 chamber-generated questions and will be given 2 minutes to answer each question. District 2 candidates will be asked 2 to 3 audience-generated questions and will be given 1 minute to answer each question. And then each district candidate will be given 1 minute for closing remarks. As the candidates are speaking, a yellow card will be held up at 30 seconds remaining, and a red card will be displayed when the time is up. We kindly ask all candidates to adhere to the time allotted and be respectful when it is someone else's turn. As a reminder to all, this is a forum where candidates have been invited to provide information to our residents and businesses. This is not a debate, and there will not be an opportunity for rebuttals. Candidates and ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending the 2022 Candidates Forum. Quan, let's begin the District 2 Forum.
Thank you, Artie. So we're going to start with Mr. Martinez. If you can share with us your credentials, why you are running, your qualification, and your interest in the business community. 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Okay. Well, first of all, I'd like to acknowledge another guest. Actually, a guest of mine for 42 years. My wife, Lilia, is here. Where are you? There you are. Good. Thanks for the support. My wife and I have lived in Whittier for 35 years, and one of my credentials is running a nonprofit, bringing it from 5 people to 250 people with a $250,000 annual budget. I'm very proud to be a board member of the Hispanic Outreach Task Force. We have been raising funds for the last 30 years to provide scholarships, bikes, backpacks to kids who need it. Our most recent achievement was to create and produce the COVID videos, encouraging Latinos like myself to get vaccinated and to be updated on the pandemic information. I also host along with the Hispanic Outreach Task Force, the bi-monthly chief meeting where folks, the public, can have a chance to address issues directly to the chief. I'm an appointed city commissioner of the cultural arts. Our most recent project was the unveiling of the Freedom Statue at York Field. I hold a degree in analytical philosophy from a university. I'm running because I love Whittier. I love what it is. I wish to maintain and build on what it is. I love the fact that we are known as Tree City, USA, and I wish to serve a city that's done so much good for me. I'm interested in the business community. I think a business community is vital to the life of any community. I appreciate business owners who are taking the risk of achieving their dream of planting a business in Whittier, providing for their families, and providing jobs and sales tax revenues to our fine city. Because when businesses succeed, the city succeeds. Because of my past and current experiences, I believe I have a pulse on the Whittier community.
Thank you. Mr. Kazarian, same question. Discuss your credentials, why you are running, your qualifications, and your interests in the business community. 2 minutes.
My name is Michael Kazarian, and I'm a Whittier resident. I work right here in the city of Whittier. I volunteer with the Uptown Association, and I'm concerned about the business district, Uptown, the promenade, and yeah, that's all. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Kazarian. I was earlier hearing Ms. Sullins, or is it Gorman Sullins you prefer?
Yes.
Gorman Sullins? Okay. So Ms. Gorman Sullins, discuss your credentials, why you are running, your qualifications, and your interests in the business community. You have 2 minutes.
I came from Chicago at the age of 20. I chose to live here in Whittier and have invested my entire adult life in this community. I've raised 3 daughters, all of whom went to local public schools. I've owned and managed small businesses and served the community for nearly 40 years. Now that my family has grown with their full support, I am renewing my commitment to the public service by running to represent District 2. This area includes the Uptown Business District, the historic center of Whittier, as well as the hillside homes. Good services, safe neighborhoods, public facilities should be available to everyone. The next few years, we will see a dramatic increase in housing units being built in Whittier. We must insist on quality development that adds to the ambience of our town without draining our resources. I believe that decisions our local representatives require insight, assessment, demonstrated knowledge of city government, as well as input from all residents. I am confident in my record of proven leadership and accomplishments that provides the background essential for making such decisions. Some of you know me from work or my support of the Central Library, Neighborhood Watch, Whittier City Schools, an advocate for these beautiful hills we have, and I look forward to meeting and working with many more of you if I am elected. I believe that an engaged community creates a viable and livable community. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Martinez, we're going to start with you. These questions will be 2 minutes.
Okay.
And the first question, the Greenleaf Promenade was created in an emergency response to business shutdowns due to COVID-19. Do you support the hybrid Greenleaf Promenade concept currently moving forward?
Do I support the hybrid? Is that what you're asking? Yeah. Yeah, in walking through my district and the fact that I live just a couple of blocks above Uptown, I've had the chance to get to know a lot of the business owners here. And what I've discovered is that many of them have a variety of opinions on this. What seems to be the most important thing to them is what's going to make their business thrive. A promenade is a beautiful idea. A hybrid, I think, makes perfect sense to me. And so whatever is going to help businesses succeed and drive commerce into our city, I absolutely support. But I am not making anything locked in stone. I'm more interested in hearing what our business owners are looking for. And I'm absolutely open-minded to hear not only what they want, but how we can get that done working together in a collaborative manner.
Thank you. Same question, Mr. Kazarian. The Greenleaf Promenade was created in an emergency response to business shutdowns due to COVID-19. Do you support the hybrid Greenleaf Promenade concept currently moving forward?
Yes, I support all the businesses, not only the bars and the restaurants, all the mom and pop shops. Everybody needs to get out there and support all the businesses, open up the street, whatever they need to do to make the promenade look nice.
Thank you for your answer. Ms. Gorman-Sullins, same question. The Greenleaf Promenade was created in an emergency response to business shutdowns due to COVID-19. Do you support the hybrid Greenleaf Promenade concept currently moving forward?
Well, first of all, the promenade needs to be maintained and considered whether it be permanent or temporary. We need to consider if and how permanent that promenade may be. We need to have public community input as well as business input. All of the factors have to be carefully considered. We need an immediate focus that is on public safety is key, maintaining the cleanliness of the business district, and providing good services such as landscaping, lighting, and infrastructure for businesses to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you. Question number 2, we're going to start with you, Mr. Kazarian. Crime is an ongoing issue, not just in Whittier, but throughout California. What solutions do you have for addressing increase in crime?
They need to give the police more authority, whatever they need, training, hire more police, keep the streets safe. Not only the homeless, it's the people that need real help, like, on drugs, the mental, all that's an issue, but, if they want to make it look nice, the promenade, then they need to keep the streets safe.
Thank you. Ms. Gorman-Sullins, same question. Crime is an ongoing issue, not just in Whittier, but throughout California. What solutions do you have for addressing the increase in crime? 2 minutes.
Well, first of all, Whittier is very fortunate to have a local police department that is accountable to the city council. Hiring, our current council has approved and received a 17% raise for police officers and local employees that have allowed them the opportunity for a fair wage and to keep them from moving on to other cities. Now we need to take the load off of these new officers and free up our police by hiring additional personnel educated and trained on issues of homelessness, mental illness, drug addiction, and alcoholism. The police department has to be free to make these streets safe and protect and defend. They're not social workers. And if we think crime is getting bad, we're looking at a 20,000 person increase in housing over the next 20 years that was adopted by the next general plan. That will have a huge impact on crime in this area, and they need to be supported. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Martinez, same question. Crime is an ongoing issue, not just in Whittier, but throughout California. What solutions do you have for addressing the increase in crime? 2 minutes.
Well, first of all, one of my commitments is that I will work with my colleagues on the city council to ensure that public safety agencies have all the resources that they need to keep our city safe. I think tonight, those of you who were here the first hour, you heard public safety hammered over and over again, and it ought to be. It is the first point in my platform. It is a primary thing to me. If a city is not safe, nothing else will work, period. Full stop. And so I'm grateful that we have a city council whose leadership has giving more funds to our police department to hire quality recruits and laterals. As we've heard earlier, we have now a full staffing. We've added 4 more officers just recently. We patrol Santa Fe Springs. Our response time is under 5 minutes, one of the lowest in LA County. And I've met the chief. He's a good guy. I like the fact that he has removed the restrictions on beards and tattoos.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just a reminder to the audience, audience questions, if you can fill out your forms. We're on our last question coming up, so we'll try to address more questions on the second round. We're going to question number 3, Ms. Gorman-Sullins. District 2 covers part of the Uptown Whittier shopping district. What does it mean to be business friendly to you? 2 minutes.
Well, we need to support our local businesses. We need to provide, again, good infrastructure, safe streets. We can't give subsidies because if a business comes here solely for a subsidy, they probably won't have reasons to survive. We need to have safety, public streets, good lighting, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Martinez, same question. District 2 covers part of the Uptown Whittier shopping district. What does it mean to be business friendly to you?
I think that it is important that we look for ways to make sure that it is easy to do business in Whittier. I've sometimes heard that it wasn't the most pleasant experience to get a business started in Whittier, and it ought to be. Other cities seem to have attracting or pulling away businesses that could open up here in Uptown. I have a very selfish motivation. I live 2 blocks from Uptown. I moved up into this area because I enjoy a walking neighborhood. Who wouldn't? So I will work with my colleagues and find out what are all the ways that we can reduce the cost and the process of opening a business. And then number 2, how can we help businesses stay open? But clearly, public safety has to work hand in hand with this thing. So lighting, support from our public safety agencies. And once that's done, there's nothing sacred, no option off the table. What are the ways that we can not only attract, but help businesses stay here in Whittier?
Thank you. Mr. Kazarian, same question. District 2 covers the part of Uptown Whittier shopping district. What does it mean to be business friendly to you?
Like I said, you need to get out there and shop. All the mom and pop shops, the bars and the restaurants, that's fine, but you need to make, everything safe, make sure everybody's, the promenade, open it, make it look nice. Security, not only in the daytime, at night, that's when all the bars and the restaurants, So keep everybody safe and.
Thank you. Do we have the questions from the audience? So we're ahead of schedule. So what I would suggest you folks do, I got 2 questions we're going to ask, to allow the candidates after this interview to maybe engage with them personally and ask your personal questions. I think that would really provide an in-depth conversation and dialogue between the constituent and our candidates. So we're going to start with Mr. Martinez. First question from the audience. 1 minute.
Okay.
How do you feel about getting our own prosecutor in Whittier?
Oh, an easy one. Look, public safety, talk about giving the officers what the tools and the resources that they need. But as we heard earlier, when you have well over 600 arrests with no prosecutions, you're sending out a signal that we can equip these men and women who are risking their lives to protect all of us, but we don't give a crap of what happens afterwards. And so I think it's a wise move, it's a bold move, it's a out-of-the-box thinking move to consider prosecuting our own misdemeanors. And I would fully support any option that would help bring a reduction in our crime. Full stop, period.
Mr. Kazarian, same question. How do you feel about getting our own prosecutor in Whittier?
That's a good idea because you need to keep crime down and the street safe. You know, because now they know that they'll get away with stuff because they can't get prosecuted. So, you know, if you had a good prosecutor, you know, to make sure that, you know, they're not doing bad stuff, you know, the streets will be safe then.
Thank you, Mr. Kazarian. Same question to you, Ms. Gorman-Sullins.
That would be completely unsustainable for all of us. Consider setting up new offices, hiring staff. We simply cannot afford it. The legal challenges coming down from the state of California will be immense. Gascon is going to be recalled. He has a no confidence vote by his entire staff. We simply cannot afford to do this. Thank you.
So, Mr. Kazarian, we're going to start with you on this question. What is your position on oil drilling in the Whittier Hills? 1 minute.
Oil drilling, I don't like, you know, you can't be messing up the hills. Yeah. Because people live in the hills and there's other resources, you know, for drilling oil or, yeah.
Thank you. Ms. Gorman-Sullins, same question. What is your position on oil drilling in the Whittier Hills?
Oil drilling was an issue in the Whittier Hills. It is no longer legislatively an issue in the Whittier Hills. I fortunately have been endorsed and supported by all our local legislative officials. Linda Sanchez, Lisa Calderon, Grace Napolitano, Janice Hahn, Bob Archuleta. We need to deal with regional issues on if the hills come back to light. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Martinez, same question. What is your position on oil drilling in the Whittier Hills?
Well, you know, at $6 a gallon, it does sound like a good idea. However, it's not. I love the nature. I love the trees. I love the beauty of our city. I would hate to see it destroyed for a short-term gain. It is not perhaps the wisest idea, but I would not support anything that would bring harm and damage to our beautiful city. So that's, I think, would sum up almost anything regarding drilling and any other prospects of work like that in our city.
We got to go. Start with Mr. Martinez. We got one
Okay,
closing comments, 1 minute.
I thought we got away with that, yeah. So closing comment, is that it? Yes. 1 minute, okay. Everyone, my name is Octavio Cesar Martinez. I'm easily found anywhere online. I am not hiding my past, my work. Contrary to popular opinion, I've never been a member of a gang or in prison. And I'm not related to George Clooney. Look, I love Whittier. I've raised my family here. I consider this my home. Whatever I do, I'm going to live with. And I'll ask you a favor. Please vote for me. And if you do vote for me, please tell your friends and neighbors. But if you decide not to vote for me, keep it to yourself.
Thank you. Mr. Kazarian, 1 minute.
My name is Michael Kazarian, and I care about the city, all the businesses, the safety, so, thank you for, letting me,
Thank you. Ms. Gorman-Sellens, 1 minute.
I've spent decades involved in local issues that have affected quality of life here in Whittier. I will work with all groups to make this city succeed. I want the same opportunities I've enjoyed here for my children and grandchildren and for all of Whittier for generations to come. We need to think globally and act locally. We can make our biggest difference here at home. Thank you very much.
Now, let's thank you again on behalf of the Whittier Area Chamber of Commerce,
Thank you for having us.
the board members, and the business community. And let's take the next half hour or so to engage with our audience. Thank you.
So much for having us.